Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to a long-awaited addition to Keeping It Kresky. I've been out for 2 months, no videos. Not really by choice. I had some issues with the bike, and I will give you a lowdown what happened. And then I'll show you like how I fixed it and everything. Not how I fixed it, but what I did to fix it. I didn't film any of the fixing. Excuse me. So I just decided to film, fix it off camera just because I didn't know what I was doing and whatever. It was just kind of, it just worked out that way. But anyway, so about two months ago, I was on my way to work and I heard this really loud grind in my back wheel. And as I was riding, I was hearing this grind. Felt really weird, felt like a vibration of sorts. Took it home, parked it for a little while. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and kind of had the idea that it was maybe the planetary gears. I'll put a photo of the planetary gears somewhere here so you could check out what that is and what it was. And I'll show you like some parts and stuff after I explain. There's these nylon gears in the hub. Those gears cracked and the teeth got all chipped up, and those gears are attached to like this circle piece. I think that's the clutch. I ended up getting a whole new planetary gear setup. The new setup didn't work, so in the end I mixed and matched some of the old parts with the new parts, and it eventually did get my bike working. I also chopped a wire by accident during all this. I'll explain what happened there. So yeah, it was a good 2 months, no bike, total bummer. But I'll tell you, it feels really good to be back on the bike again. Also, I don't know if the gears are much of an upgrade. Maybe that I greased up the gears, but I cut my torque sensor. I'm gonna bring you over to the bike now. I'm gonna show you some parts that I switched around, and kind of give you a better idea what I'm talking about. So I got sick of driving my car, I'll tell you. I've missed the bike so much. First things first. So these are the planetary gears. So these pretty much go on like this. Doesn't really matter if they're on the right way or not, but this is generally, they go on like so. And there's these retaining washers that hold these on. So you could see here, these teeth got mashed up. I have almost 6,000 miles on this bike, so I'm not too bummed out, honestly. Like 6,000 miles, these little nylon teeth. This got all chipped. A couple other ones got chipped. That one's missing. So what I did was, I bought this entire piece like this off of Amazon. It was a planetary gear, it was $30. It's really hard to find the exact part that I need for that hub motor because it's like a proprietary hub, it's made Ford juiced. I just couldn't find any information on the exact set of planetary gears I needed. So I took a chance, bought a pair off Amazon for $30. I installed them. I took the hub apart. I installed this. And when I hit the throttle, nothing would happen. My wheel wouldn't spin, and I would get this Error 21 code on my bike. So what I decided to do, so then a few weeks went by, maybe like 2 weeks, but something else broke, but I'll show you what took longer to get all this taken care of. So what I noticed, the reason, you see this arrow here? When these gears get installed on the bike, they get put through an axle here, and there's only one way these can really go on. So they go on this way. But this arrow on this piece is pointing this way, and on the stock juiced like clutch piece, I guess this was pointing this way. So what that means is when this was spinning, it wasn't catching the gears in here, it was just freewheeling. So like this, it just wasn't working. That's why I was getting the error code. So what I did was I took the chipped wheels or chip gears. I took the chip gears off of the juiced stock clutch assembly here. I think this is a clutch assembly, I might be wrong. So I took the juiced gears off the stock assembly, and I took the nice new gears off of this incorrect Amazon one. So I basically just swapped the gears, plugged it in, got it all going, greased it all up, and the bike runs awesome. Now, you know what I did notice? I'll show you a quick photo of the new gears, like the gears that were on this. The juiced ones have this like nice reinforced metal insert here. For some reason, the Amazon versions don't have this metal insert, but they seem to be holding up pretty good so far. I'm going to try to find a pair of these ones with this metal insert. I'll show you a photo, you can see the comparison. So I figured this out, finally. So in the midst of like taking my wheel off a couple times, trying to figure out what's going on, I have to work in my kitchen, and then to put it together, I gotta put it back together and like wheel it in the other room. It's like really, really a pain. So in the interim of like taking my bike on and off and apart and wheeling it around, I cut this wire by accident. This is the torque sensor wire. And I spliced it together, and there's like 6 tiny little mini wires in there, and it was never the same. But you know what sucked? I cut this when I was installing, when I first installed the improper planetary gear setup, I cut this at the same time. So I didn't know if like this was the problem. I didn't know if the fix worked or not. I didn't know if the planetary gears didn't work. So I was like, oh crap. So what I did was I ordered a new one of these off of Juiced. It was like $100. I think it was 125 bucks. I installed it, tried to start the bike again, and I still was getting the error code. So then I was like, okay, now I know it's the planetary gears. 2 things were broke. Now 1 thing was broke, and it had, powers of deduction. That's when I figured out I should probably take the old gears off and like swap gears and everything like I explained. So let me show you how I cut this by accident. So normally when I'm working on this bike and I have to take the back wheel off, I put the derailleur, let me get this out of the way. I put the derailleur up like this, and I'll wire tie the derailleur to this frame, so it kind of keeps the chain slacked. I'll pop the chain off here, and I get a lot of slack, so when I'm taking the wheel on and off, this kind of stays out of the way. I could do what I need to do. You know, I'm working out of a dingy lighted kitchen. It's horrible, it's so dim in there. And I had a black wire tie right near this wire, and I thought I was cutting the black wire tie, and I chopped this is the new one, but I chopped this speed sensor wire. I'm gonna go for a ride, and I'm gonna tell you why I think this planetary, or this I don't think it's the gears, but I think this might be an upgraded speed sensor, and I'll tell you why. I could be totally wrong, but we'll see. You can see here's the speed sensor. That's where it goes. There's like a little square sensor down here, and I guess it measures the wheel speed somehow. I'm not really sure how it works, but I think this speed sensor is an upgrade. So we're gonna go for a ride. I'll tell you my thoughts on that. Thankfully, we are back in business. All right, everybody, here we are, back again. Thanks for stopping by. I apologize about the hiatus. We are back, cruising, keeping it Kresky, episode 70-something. Brakes are not too squeaky, thankfully. Alright, so let's talk. I want to get to a spot here. I want to talk to you about what I noticed after I changed those gears and after I changed that torque sensor. Also, this wouldn't be a Keeping It Kresky episode if I didn't get iced coffee, or just coffee. I know I'm usually not the most theatrical, loud person, but I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm probably even more monotone than normal. So sorry about that. But I didn't get a coffee at 3 o'clock. I'm feeling like I need one and I cannot wait. So we'll keep tradition alive. We'll get a coffee and then we'll go from there. It's gonna cruise. This is probably the 4th time I've ridden since I got the bike set back up. Yeah, bro, I think about the 4th. So 2 things we're going to talk about. When I used to, like when this bike maxed out in speed at like, I think it's 32-ish, 33, somewhere around between 32, 33 it maxes out for me, depending on how much I ate in the morning and what kind of hill I'm going down or battery life, you know? But when it would get to that maxed out speed, I would hear this loud noise in my hub motor. It was almost like a ring, ring, ring. It was like a whining sound. Ring, 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 ring. Like, and I've heard people talk about this on the Juice websites. They say, hey, why does my bike make this sound? And everybody seems to believe that it's the clutches kind of doing their clutch thing. I know that's not a very scientific explanation, but I don't want to pretend like I know. But apparently it's the clutches, that metal disc, if I could, you know, fathom what might be going on here. That metal disc that I showed you, I'll show you again. That metal disc has clutches in it and there's gears in there and they, you know, they're changing gears and it's kind of doing everything by itself and it knows how to do it. I know that's a horrible explanation. I just don't know for sure, but apparently that metal disc is one of the things that's making the noise when you get to a certain speed. And usually when I would get to that speed, I would let off the throttle a little bit because it was kind of like, I don't know if it hurt the bike, but it didn't sound great. But everybody on those Juice websites, the Juice Mods, this, that, and the other on Facebook, they all said it was the clutch thing and not to worry about it. I think you're supposed to not keep it full throttle for a while when it's making that noise. That being said, 2 things I noticed since I fixed this whole bike. For one, my rear hub motor is quieter, 100% quieter. Well, actually, I take that back. It is quieter. It's 100% fact that it's quieter. I should say that, not 100% quieter. But a couple things I noticed. I have more torque. I definitely have more torque. This is where I was talking about a possible upgraded sensor. I don't know if just having new nylon gears in there and greasing them up would make me feel like I have more torque. I also feel like I have a little bit more top end speed and mid-range speed when my battery gets lower. Like I felt a big difference when I would get into the, let me see, 55. Yeah, when I would get into like the 50% range, right below 50% range, which is I think around 49 volts. When I would get to those voltages, my torque really cut back. I feel like my torque is not, there's not a gradual decline as far as I used to feel. I think it's the torque sensor that's upgraded. I don't know. I don't mean everybody to be going out there and get torque sensors. But I do have like, I think one of the original HyperScrambler 2s here, so. And they may have upgraded the sensors and stuff, but I noticed the hill climbs are a little bit better. I noticed the degradation in speed isn't as prevalent when I get to about that 49%, 50%, 49 volts, 50% battery-ish. Also, like it seems quieter. And this is the weird part. When I'm at full throttle and I hit that like full throttle speed, that clutch sound isn't making that weird noise back there, that whining sound that people say is the clutch doing its clutch thing when the bike like reaches its top speed. There's something in there making a whining sound. I don't hear that anymore. I don't know how me just changing those planetary gears, just the nylon gears, would have affected that other sound so greatly. I think, now this is just a theory because I have no idea, but I think maybe the speed sensor is slightly tuned differently, and it's tuned to enhance whatever's going on the hub wheel. I don't even know if that's possible, but there has to be some kind of explanation. I feel like that's a better explanation or a better possibility than me just changing those plastic gears, where I have better torque. I don't lose power as much when I get to 50 volts, or yeah, 49 volts-ish, 50% battery. I think it's a higher probability that something, because that's like computer, there's computer stuff, the torque sensor is doing something. I feel like that was tuned differently, refined, if you will, and it's just kind of like a little bit better all around. It's like a little boost in efficiency, speed, torque. So I'm gonna go top speed, and you can hear that sound never comes, that weird, I don't know if you're able to hear it, but I'll mention it when I would hear it. And it's just quieter, everything's a little bit quieter now. So I'm going 33. I was going 33 there, full throttle, and I do not hear that clutch whining sound. Now that's, you know, my guess is that the torque sensor is tuned differently. That's just a guess. I'm 100% not an expert. You know, maybe somebody has an idea in the comments. If you want to tell me what your idea might be, it could totally be right. I could be completely wrong. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on it. And I'd also like to know, like, people with the newer HyperScrambler 2s that maybe got them in the last year, 6 months. Do you guys have that whining sound when you hit top speed? It kind of sounds like this, like, it's almost like you're hitting this maximum velocity with the rear motor. I don't know. It's a little bit of an upgrade. I think I feel it. And I think I gained weight over the last few months, so it's not like I lost weight and the bike's faster. So yeah, that's my theory. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down there. I'm curious. And like I said, anybody with the newer HyperScramblers, because it'd be interesting if the newer HyperScramblers don't make that whine sound at full speed. I bet those newer HyperScramblers have the updated throttle sensor. Throttle sensor, I think, like I said, was about 125 bucks. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Between the quietness of the hub and the upgrade, and like it's a little bit snappier, like by a few percentages, but it's noticeable, pleasantly noticeable. And my brakes are pretty much not squeaky for the most part. What else is going on with the bike here? Oh yeah, these plastic covers here, or these plastic light mounts, I had to put a bunch of tape on this. It was sliding. I'm gonna have to order a new set of these from Juiced. They've been taped one too many times. I have an idea how I think I can make these last better next time. I'll do a video on it when I get a new set of those plastic light mounts. I have an idea, because I cracked like 4 pair already. I probably cracked, let me see, 1, 2. I altogether probably cracked 4 or 5 of those individual ones, not a 5 pair. So I have an idea how I can maybe maintain their structural integrity. Which would be kind of cool. You know, let's just go across town, because there's a coffee shop here in town, but I think it might be cool just to cruise across town since we haven't taken a ride in a while. I'm gonna do a bit of a speed run. It's just fun to go a little faster today. Also, everyone, just a friendly reminder, be sure to check your front and rear wheel bolts every so often. It's good to check them every ride. I'm not gonna lie, I probably check mine every like third ride or so. But definitely don't go like 2 months without checking those bolts, or even 10 rides, you know? I don't even know if I'm going to remember how to edit video. I'm a little bummed. I damn near missed the 2 months of the riding season. Basically all of June and all of July. Just got it fixed at the end of July, so it's a little bit of a bummer. But it really got to the point where I was like starting to think about, can I part these batteries out? Like, I'd like to get some money for the bike. Like, there was some depressing thoughts as far as my bike's concerned here. Like, I thought that was the end, you know? And it's the way that I have to work on it. I have to lift it up with like 2 chairs and put crutches underneath it. It's such a challenging repair station. So having to lift it on and off and having failure after failure trying to fix it, and not having a lot of money to like, oh, I contacted Juice. Oh, let me say this. Let me say this, if I may. Juice, I know Juice gets a lot of slack, or flack, I guess, because they might slack or did, for their customer service. They were spot on. When I was considering sending my wheel in for repair, well, let me give you this little pro tip anyways. If you ever need to talk to them, go on their website and hit the chat button. And try to do it like earlier in the day if you could. The one time I had to wait a really long time to get on the chat, I don't know if they're really, I think because I might have contacted them during lunch or something, but if you contact them at 9 a.m. PST or EST, whatever that is for you, like when they're open, I was getting on the chat with Juice really quick, like very quickly. They were responding. It was very hassle-free. I was considering sending my wheel in. They gave me some prices on sending the wheel in. They don't sell planetary gears. Keep that in mind. Juice does not sell any parts for the rear hub motor. I either had to send my wheel in for repair, and it could have cost up to $400 depending on what was wrong with it. I think it was $400. Or I could have bought a whole new wheel that they had in stock for $499. I think the least expensive the repair would have cost was $250 or $299. Don't quote me on it. So I did lose 2 months this summer, but the planetary gears I got off Amazon were 30 bucks. That speed sensor though, that was all my fault. That really wouldn't have cost me anything. If I didn't chop that wire, this whole thing would have cost me probably 50 bucks. I had to buy a device that, when you take the gears off the back, which is also called the cassette, I had to buy that tool. So that tool was like 10 bucks. the gears, and then I bought some lithium grease. So if you don't cut your torque sensor, you're looking at a $50 repair. Wow, I feel like every direction I go it's windy, I'm sorry. I was on the message chat with Juiced about the torque sensor. They got back to me fast. Quick replying back and forth, and they sent me, when I said I wanted it, they sent me an invoice. I paid, had the part in a couple days. So yeah, Juiced customer service. I actually never really had any problem with them. Since we're about to pull up to the cafe here, I'm going to shut the camera down like usual, just so I'm not the weird guy with the camera on people trying to have a peaceful coffee. Alright, so camera's getting shut down. This is awesome. Thanks again for coming along, keeping it Kresky, and we'll continue this ride after we get a beverage. Kitty. Street cat. I'll let you go, kitty. So I think that's kind of gonna be it for the ride. I feel like I talked way too much in this video. That's about it. I really appreciate y'all coming along and sticking around. I gained a couple new subscribers and I haven't had a video up in 2 months. So I apologize for that. About it. I'm gonna do my best to keep putting out videos, and you know, I still probably have, it's mid-August right now. I got the rest of August. September's usually good for riding. Thanks again so much for coming along. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. Stay tuned for more videos. Like, share, and subscribe. You know, all the good stuff if you want to keep up to date. And hopefully I'll have stuff to put out up to date, so it's just not a dead channel. But I'm still here, still alive. Bike is alive. And yeah, let's make the best of the riding season that we have left. Let's go on adventures. And that's kind of it. Thanks again, guys, gals, everybody. Keeping it Kresky. Until we meet again. Later.